going on? What's going on, everybody? Get in, 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 get in. Get in, 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 get in. See, it's gonna get crazy if he doesn't show up. What up, everybody? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Why does this say upcoming? It doesn't need to say upcoming. It needs to say now. No, it's not made for children. Why would it be made for children? I don't like children. Save. Yeah, no, it usually does a raid. But you guys came without having to be raided in, so I appreciate it. Let's go. Let's giggity, giggity, giggity. Nice. Hell yeah. All right, it says my video is live. Where is it? Where is it, Daddy? What up, y'all? Why doesn't he love me? All right, I don't need to be on my studio. I need to be in my channel. There we go. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a Celsius. I don't have a Celsius. I'm gonna have to go grab some from the store. There he is. There he is.
Yeah.
Show up. Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How we doing?
Doing well. Still don't understand why it's not connecting to the YouTubies, but whatever. I always figure it out somehow.
Just yell out and say, AI, can you fix this? And
dude, I was literally on AI before I got on here.
How goes the day, man? Yo, listen, my batch comes tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tomorrow. We got cases and cases of it. First and foremost, I got to say, since the last time we did official on here, I know we chopped it up behind the scenes. Yo, the team went undefeated.
Undefeated. Where's my... he took it. My ring's in the mail because I made a big stink about the coaches not getting rings, so they ordered us some. But his ring is somewhere. Yeah. 12-0, undefeated season champs. And then he got MVP, which I took myself out of the votes because I was like, well, this is going to be nepotism if I picked my own kid. But so it was the head coach and the other coach that did all the deciding. But yeah, awesome,
phenomenal, man! Congratulations, that's dope.
Yeah, he got his new bat 2 days ago because that was the thing. Actually, hold on, let me show you because it drives me nuts.
I gotta see it. Guys, live Q&A today. Start putting your questions in. We're talking undefeated baseball season right now.
So this isn't the new bat. This is the one he used since he went to coach pitch, which I had to buy after he got out of T-ball because his first game out of T-ball in coach pitch, he got a home run and the other team challenged the bat because they're like, hey, he's using a T-ball bat. He can't use a T-ball bat. And so they're like, hey, you got to get a new bat. And I was like, I just bought that bat.
So wait a minute. They challenged the bat? They're tiny. What?
Yeah, of a 5-year-old. They challenged the bat of a 5-year-old on his first game. They said it was unfair because it was a T-ball bat, so it was lighter. He was able to swing it faster. I'm like, have you not noticed he's 2'4"? He hasn't had a growth spurt yet. So anyway, we got a new bat. This is the bat he used all season. Last game of the season, last hit, he breaks the bat.
Dude, legendary though. Legendary.
Breaks the bat. We're gonna keep this. I'll probably have my dad build a frame or something because it's just. And I got it on film. I got to pitch to him, so that was awesome. So anyway, he got a new bat. He picked out it looks like a Prime bottle.
Oh, okay.
And it's called the War Stick. That's what it says on the bat. So I'm pretty stoked.
Wait, these kids are 5 and 6 years old swinging War Sticks, hitting dingers? What?
Yeah, it's called the War Stick. It's so awesome.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's it. What about on your end, man?
Full steam ahead. We're in the soggy season up here in Maine, so it's pouring rain most of the time, which is good. It's refreshing. I've been lugging wood we're clearing some of the land out back, and a guy came and chopped up a bunch of trees. And the end goal was take the chopped trees and put them up by the house so that
Yeah.
Lindsay's brother could come pick them up. And he chopped them and left them as far away from the house as he possibly could.
Yeah.
So from afar, when you look out my house, you're like, oh, those tiny little logs way over there? Like,
Yeah.
that's nothing. And then you get up to the logs, and so I've been lugging them back and forth, so Lindsay's brother can use the wood. But other than that, it's, streaming in the mornings and seeing what works and what doesn't, and continuing to crush.
So, streamer by morning, lumberjack by day.
Lumberjack wannabe. I don't know how those lumberjacks do it. Like, I'll carry one log because I don't have any equipment. I don't have a 4-wheeler yet or anything like that, but it's pretty comical. And we got some interesting, actually, you from back in the day, you would know this. There's some interesting bugs that I'm running into. I don't even know
Oh yeah.
what kind of creatures these are, but I think they may be dinosaurs. I don't know what they are, but
Well, the cool thing about the bugs you're finding is the bigger they are, that means that there's something bigger than that eats those.
oh, I don't know. I see, that's the last thing I needed to know, because these things are I'm arm wrestling these things in the backyard, and they are winning. So we'll figure it out.
Welcome in, guys. We're just doing a catch up. Also, hit that poll. I just kind of wanted to know, because I know you have yearly, monthly, weekly, daily goals, as do
Yep.
we. I attribute a lot to what we do and the success we have to having those small goals to big goals, because they all connect like Lego pieces.
Yep.
That you can step on at 3 a.m. barefoot. Also, Josh is here. Josh, I saw your video of the aftermath of your stream. You gave my OCD anxiety of all the just stuff everywhere. But
Yo,
congrats
shout
on a
out.
10K show, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and solo 10K show.
Solo.
It's very difficult. All the logistics that go into solo 10K show. So shout out
Yeah, if you
to Ace,
guys,
man.
if you didn't know, Josh is stuck at home. His wife is actually moose hunting and trying to bring the tariffs down in Canada right now. So good luck to her.
I love it. Wait, someone said do a behind the scene, DC, a behind the scenes while I'm live streaming. Why don't you just come to the live stream and see how? I don't know how to do a behind the scenes while I'm also streaming.
Yeah. Millie, first question, how much research do you do on a weekly basis? So me, I'm researching different I'm researching the current trending brands, styles that I should be looking for, because it's easier for me, especially when we moved into the rag house. It was and also to teach other people at the rag house, is just patterns. Like, hey, instead of you looking for specific brands in this giant pile of 1,000 pounds, just sort by style. So this is what boho looks like. This, like Johnny was style. Just put everything that has that style in a pile. Put everything that's a black t-shirt in that pile. And then that way we can go through the smaller condensed piles and pick out the ones that we know are going to sell. So things like that. I'm also generally trying to find more inventory, so I'm contacting more rag houses, asking the same questions over and over, getting the door shut on me. But just pretty much that, just going through that entire list on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we track our own numbers. Rachel, I'll get to your questions too about pallets. We track our own numbers, our own. When I say numbers, there's different types of stuff. Whether it's the brand, whether it's is this brand in this size, in this colorway, getting bid up more than another one. We track all that stuff, and we just use simple Google Sheets. I was going to try to bring it up on the computer because I'm using my phone to stream, which I use my phone for everything, but I'm having trouble bringing up the computer. But we use our own numbers, and then when there's new brands that are new to us that we want to sell, there's less. Obviously, we don't have as much data, so we test in small quantities and small financial investments, and then slowly build it up when it's working, as opposed to, I'm pretty sure I see everyone selling Nike, so I'm going to go buy a bunch of Nike. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, this isn't working for me. On Whatnot specifically, 2 resellers can have the same inventory with different results. It depends on how you sell. It depends on the following that you've grown. And so there's not, as opposed to like eBay and Poshmark, where you can look up data and see this item is selling for this much, this many times per month. You can't do that on Whatnot yet. So you have to test small. 10 streams is small for us. That's our at bat. And then if it works, go heavier on those. And one more thing, Flip. Rachel asked a bunch of questions and people were responding about pallets. We don't buy pallets. We don't, like, we've bought pallets in the past and it has been an absolute shit show. There are people that are winning doing pallets. We do retail and online arbitrage all across the country, hand selecting every single piece. If there was a place where I could get the stuff we're getting now in pallet form without thousands of pieces of junk that I have to deal with, then I would do it. But I just haven't found that. So, and I just wanted to bring it up because Rachel was saying that both you and I buy pallets.
Guys, if you're one of those weirdos that believes in 11/11 and wishes coming true at 11/11, my wish just came true at 11/11. Ryan just said shit.
Yo, it's only because I'm all the way up here in Maine and you're in Texas, and I try to keep it PG.
Ryan said shit.
I
got Harry saying
so
penis on camera. I have you say
Dude, I swear so much in my backyard. With my kids here, I try not to, and they're upstairs right now. One of them sleeping. I try my hardest not to.
You yell at the trees.
Yeah, I yell at the trees when I'm logging stuff.
Another thing I was gonna say, as far as like, this isn't something I research online. I do like the eye test because, again, if you guys have followed me for any amount of moments, you know I like to kiss. Kiss is my method of life. I keep it simple, stupid. So what I do is when I'm unloading the car from the day's show at the bins, I have tubs, which you might be able to see in the back. And there's a tub for t-shirts, there's a tub for bottoms, there's a tub for sweaters and crew necks, and there's a tub for jackets. When I unload the car and I look at the tubs, the ones that are the highest typically mean that's what we sold the most of. Now I know you're going to be like, well, no, jackets are bigger than, but our outerwear is always higher. No matter if it's 100 freaking degrees outside here, we still sell more hoodies and jackets year round than we do anything else. And we yield the biggest profit on those items because t-shirts, unless it's like rare, you're not going to sell t-shirts for that much money. So I actually just look at what I sell on a daily basis. I'm like, people seem to be buying more of this. I'm going to start looking for more of this.
Yeah. And also, I'll piggyback on that. A lot of the times I think people are taking an eBay, Poshmark mentality and trying to bring it to Whatnot. And there's so many different nuances. Speed plays a big factor in why people will buy something. Convenience plays an even bigger factor. And remember, people aren't looking through all these different listings like they are on eBay and comparing, all right, I want this, Mad Happy hoodie in color blue in my size, and looking at 27 different listings. They're in your show. If you have the size and the colorway that they want, boom, it can be sold if it's priced accordingly. And that could be different between sellers.
Yeah. And also, I buy stuff year round for gifts, for Christmas, and just tuck them away. I have an entire 2 shelves here that are just stuff for presents for upcoming events, that I can just get now instead of waiting or I can't find it in store because it just doesn't exist, but somebody on here has it. So you can't take, and we've said this since day one, you can't take any other platform and apply how you use it to this platform, just like you can't take Whatnot and apply it to TikTok selling or Jamble or eBay live selling. Each one stands on its own.
Yeah. And some people are mentioning about, the cost in their thrifts and the cost, and that's a forever thing. We started back in 2017, and back in 2017, people were telling us, you're not going to build a business because thrifts are expensive and the price of a stamp went up. And of course now 2025, they're saying it still. There's so much opportunity. Again, I don't say this to toot our own horn, but to give you actual numbers instead of big, we did $1.9 million last year.
Yep.
We only went to 10 or less stores all year long to do our sourcing. 10 or less, and $1.9 million. Because here's the reality. What actually has to happen is you have to listen to what the community wants, and you have to source it low enough to make a little bit of profit over lots of items sold. This is not a buy something for $5 and sell it for $100, tons of times during your stream over and over again. This is buy something for $5, sell it for 15 or 20, 200 times in a stream. Now,
Yes.
that's very generally speaking. You can do bigger margins, smaller margins, but like that's the name of the game on Whatnot is speed.
And as far as if you're having issues with, okay, well, I live in a small town, we don't have a lot of thrift, or my thrift store prices are too high. If you have any type of, you don't even have to have huge social media. You just have to have social media. Just post what you're looking for.
Yeah.
People have it, and they're willing to sell it to you. Now, if you have a bigger platform, it's gonna be easier for people to reach out because you can be like, hey, you have the stuff, I don't have the stuff, but I have the platform. Let's work together. We can do consignment. Then you have people sending you stuff to sell because they don't have a social media following. You have a social media following, but they can get access to the product. So you guys are working together. Both people are successful. Both people are working. Like right now, I just had a call today with a rag house that has from floor to ceiling. They've already sorted it. It's already from floor to ceiling. It's True Religion, Miss Me, and Rock Revival jeans, all sorted. Those three brands, all the bedazzled booty jeans you can think of. Um, but he's coming in too high for what I need. Now I could find a couple pairs a week at the bins for $1.99. But if he has floor to ceilings, 500-600 pairs, obviously I need to pay a little bit up on my $2 a pound. But what he's offering right now is $8 a pound, and the average weight is 2.5 pounds on those stupid bedazzled jeans. So that's $20 a pair. That would work great for eBay, because eBay they're selling for like 35 to 55, but on Whatnot they're going to move for like 25 to 30 bucks, and it's not going to work for me. So he either has to come down, or I have to be okay walking away knowing that there is a pile of money there.
And guys, that's the lesson. You know how many times we've walked away from a deal because it just did not make financial sense. That's the name of the game. If it doesn't make sense, move on to the next opportunity, and eventually it will make sense. Mondays, you do not need a license to buy directly from the brands, but it absolutely helps, and it's free to get your reseller's license. It's absolutely free. You can
Yep.
like why wouldn't you? It just legitimizes you even more. You just got to connect with your local state government. Up here in Maine, we connected with the local Maine to get our resellers. Yeah, exactly. To get our reseller certificate. Flip down in Texas, got his. It's absolutely free. So there's no reason not to have your reseller certificate. But you do not need it to buy directly from the brands.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know why ever and again, I'm not putting anybody that's asking in the questions here, because I know every time we get new people coming in, but you guys have never bought pallets, but
Yeah.
everyone assumes that you're getting all your stuff on pallets.
I honestly, when I during a stream, I say we have stuff coming in, and so they might think
Okay.
like, oh, whatever. Now, those of you that live in the middle of nowhere, so do I. I live literally in the middle of the woods on a mountain in Maine. There's not a lot going on up here. It's 30 minutes to get to the grocery store. When we want sushi, it's literally 2 hours round trip. We gotta go. We do it, once or twice a week. Yes, hipster, we do. And but we want to source the best stuff. So over the last 2-3 years, we've built out sourcing teams across the country that can go in their local area, source and ship it up to us. So that's what I mean by when stuff's arriving is the teams that have done retail arbitrage are shipping it up to us.
Are sending it in. Let me see what happened. Yeah, so I know you can reach out to Opal Answer, but you can reach out to, like, you could there if you go to Lululemon's website, there is a place where you can fill out to wholesale. Now they're gonna want to make sure you are a yoga studio or a fitness, like a Orange Theory or something like that. You have to have a brick and mortar to put the products in. You can't just be like, oh, I sell on Whatnot. It's not going to work that way. Free People's the same way. A lot of these businesses are doing that, where they will wholesale out to you, but you have to have a brick and mortar store. So that's not a route that I would ever go. But again, I'm also, like we've said multiple times, usually if someone's selling a pallet of stuff, it's because they couldn't make any money off of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you just said that. Just use logic thinking through it. Why are pallets available? Usually generally speaking, it's because there's a lot of inventory that doesn't have the value to sell it one by one.
Yep.
Now, can you make money by buying pallets and selling one by one? Absolutely. You just have
Yep.
to take into consideration how much effort and work. If you spend, 40 hours selling a pallet and shipping it and organizing it, let's hope that you're making thousands and thousands of dollars. Because if you spend 40 hours total selling a whole pallet and you've made $200, $200 a week is not, in my opinion, livable.
Exactly. And then just now, I'm only 2 months in, so I'm still very green with how rag houses or textile clothing recycling centers work. But just what I've been able to pick up very quickly is if I get a bale, if I get 1,000-pound bale, and let's say I do specifically women's blouses, so it's just blouses. That bale, let's say it's 1,200 pounds. 1,200 pounds of women's blouses ranging from 4 ounces to 12 to 15 ounces. Out of it, 1,200 pounds, I might find 100, 125 things that I think actually can sell. So the amount of work that goes in at a rag house, people don't, I mean, everyone's like, oh man, once I get in there, that's going to be it. It is insanely more work. And
Because you have to. What do you do with the rest?
yeah, the rest of it is either your problem. You now have to load it and take it to Goodwill and donate it. And then if you go to the bins, you're going to see that again. So you're only like making your job at the bins even more because you're going to see the same stuff again, like in a couple days. Or you have to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, create lots, throw it in the dump, take it to the dump, which you have to pay a fee if you go to the dump here. Or you can sell it back to the rag at 2 cents a pound on something you just paid $4, $6 a pound for.
Right,
And then
right, right.
they'll just sell it overseas, but you can't sell it overseas because you don't have that contact. You don't have that contract. You don't know how to do shipping freight. So it is, I mean, you could have a truck of credentialed used clothing dropped off in your driveway, and then you're going to have 10,000 pounds of used clothes that you've gotten maybe 500 items out of that now you have to figure out where to go. It's the same reason I've never been into storage units. You buy a storage unit for $100 and then you find, enough 10 things, and now you got to get rid of the rest of it, and you're on a time schedule because they want it all out by 5 o'clock because they got a new person moving in the next day.
And here's another thing that I don't hear actually anyone talking about is let's say you get a pallet and there's 1,000 pieces. Just to use whole numbers because I'm horrible with math. My wife does all the math. Let's say there's 1,000 pieces in that pallet. Let's say out of that pallet, 200 are really amazing, right? Like that's a very good ratio compared to what it usually is. But let's say 20%, 200 of the pieces are really amazing, right? Let's say you sell the other 800 pieces. Those 800 pieces dilute your brand on Whatnot.
Yep.
So you've got 80% of what you're selling diluting because people are like, it may be selling, you may get $1 or $2 or $3 for that item. And okay, I turned it into money, but people are seeing you selling crap.
Yep.
And then when it gets to the 20%, they're not willing to pay as much because they're like, well, they usually sell, and I don't know, I'm not going to like poo poo on any brands, but like a brand that doesn't sell as well or a condition that's not as well, someone will be like, well, it's only $1, I'll buy it. But then when you've got the Nike, the North Face, the Patagonia, they're not going to be willing to pay as much. And so you're spending a lot of time diluting yourself. Now, again, guys, this is not, 100% across the board. There are people that buy pallets and do very well, but the easiest path for winning is not pallets, especially if you're starting off, and especially because your time's valuable, and to move through pallets takes a tremendous amount of time.
Yep. Again, the work that happens off air is what nobody on air is talking about.
Yeah,
And
true
again,
story.
if you know me about anything in life, with 90% of my tattoos relating to time, time is the only thing I care about.
Right. No, it's smart. Chris, I would instead of start, it's very, very hard to start your own brand,
Yeah.
especially your own clothing brand, especially your own kids clothing brand, because and listen, we sell kids apparel, youth apparel, and it's very difficult to be profitable selling Patagonia kids apparel and Nike kids apparel, and you know that have brands that spend hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing behind it. It's ambitious, and we have met with people locally that have clothing kids brands, but it's very hard to be profitable over a long period of time. And if you're just starting out, it's like, it's way easier to sell products that people are already want to purchase as opposed to trying to convince them of the quality of your apparel, if that makes sense. So if this is a little side thing, respectfully, and I know you've been in our stream and you've bought from us, and I really do appreciate it. You've bought in Carhartt. You've always asked, if we have Under Armour. We were sold out today. I'll restock for you. But starting your own clothing brand in general is extremely, extremely difficult because of everything that I just said.
Yeah, mainly with marketing and influence and all that stuff. Usually people aren't buying kids clothing because or for main reason is it's either a brand recognition from when they were a kid. So you got your Oshkosh, you got, brands like that you're like, oh, I wore that as a child, I'm going to buy that. Or you have some celebrity or somebody that's really pumping that brand out and all over social media. And so you're seeing it, you're seeing people wearing it. As someone who's in the repurposed or the used, every onesie that you have, just cut the bottom off, and now your kid has a t-shirt.
I love it. I love it. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My daughter's wearing a shirt that Lindsay wore when she was, 3 years old. And
Yeah,
it's got like the handprints on it from when she had the paint. And it's like pretty soon going to be my son's t-shirt. It's pretty funny. But also, Chris, with respect to the bamboo question, uh, find a brand that has already done everything that you want to do and say, hey, I would like to wholesale your product and bring it to Whatnot or bring it to my community, because you will leapfrog all the sourcing, you'll leapfrog all the whatever, and you'll help them build their brand. We've done this with consumable products with local companies, and we talked about this a couple live streams ago. But that is a way to hit your goal without the hard work and it almost failing effort of sourcing. We haven't even talked about like colorways and styles, and like
yeah,
every single different size and different colorway is a different product. And so for you to try to start that now, listen, I'm not trying to discourage you either, but I'm saying there's ways to hit your side hustle goal in that category, bamboo children's clothing, by leapfrogging and finding other small brands that have already done all that and working with them to wholesale.
for sure.
Yeah. Keep those questions coming in, guys. We do this every 2 weeks.
Next week's going to be a hot sauce marathon.
I know. You guys, we do literally tracking says it's showing up tomorrow. We sold out of our secret sauce. We got cases and cases coming. One thing I wanted to mention, I made a note to mention is we do this because you and I have been doing this for literally like 7 years, where we chop it
Yep.
up and we share strategy with each other, and we're bringing this to the Whatnot platform because we're both using Whatnot. But there's also another motive to us doing this for free, and it's because the better we can help other sellers be successful on Whatnot by being honest, by having authentic products, by having 5-star reviews, by taking care of the people that are buying from you, the easier it is for everyone to sell. Because what happens is there's a lot of bad sellers on Whatnot that are creating a horrible experience for the buyer, which means less people are opening their phone and getting into Whatnot to make purchases. But if there's more people that are providing an amazing service, it makes it easier for all of us to sell. It's not a competition, me versus Chris, me versus all of you guys. There needs to be a better effort across the board by sellers on Whatnot. There's lots of amazing sellers, but there's also some knuckleheads out there. And if we can inspire and literally logistically help people support themselves by respecting people's hard-earned money and providing a good product over and over and over again, it makes my job way easier every single morning.
Yeah, it also makes the platform better. And I do a lot of shopping on here. So if more people are doing the things that we talk about, then that means I have no problem knowing that I'm buying from people that already get it.
No,
um,
Chris, you're over. I keep saying Chris, and I don't mean you, Chris. I mean Chris in the chat.
yeah,
No, Chris, it's easy as walking in the door. Don't overthink it. I'm
yeah.
not. I'm not. Go ahead.
I was gonna. You can finish that. I was gonna answer this next question.
Yeah, Mondays and Chris, walk in the door
Yep.
and say, I want to buy a lot of stuff. And they're going to say, all right, we've got a sale going on Thursday. And you're going to be like, all right, I'll see you on Thursday. And then they're going to say, there's limits to what you can buy. And you follow the rules to what the limits are. Now here's the deal. It's like day trading stock. I actually don't know anything about day trading stocks, so that's a stupid sentence for me to say.
I was about to
But
write it down. I was like, what's he going to say about day trading?
yeah, but the cost of this North Face hoodie changes from day to day. One day it's $60, the same exact in the same store. One day it's $60, the next day it's 18, the next day it's 9, the next day it's 35. It depends
Yeah.
on the volume they have in that store. This is what I mean by day trading. I'm assuming, when you're
Yeah.
day trading, meaning every day the stock changes. That's what I'm trying to relate to. And so you as a seller have to find when the best deal is, and then provide a price point to your buyer that they feel good about. So
Have you
like,
seen the have you Isaiah, I see your question. I'm going to answer it next. Have you seen the Wendy's fast food is beta testing flexible pricing based off more people are buying cheeseburgers between 11 and 2, so we're going to raise our price on cheeseburgers between 11 and 2, and nobody's buying anything at 9 p.m., so the prices are going to drop down at 9 p.m.
that's
They're doing fluctuating menu prices based off of it, kind of like Uber and kind of like what you're talking about. That's the same thing the retail stores are doing and outlets. If everybody is here on the weekends, price goes up.
yep.
Price goes up, and then they do a higher. They usually what they do is they'll put the price high and then have a bigger percentage off because there's more eyes. So you see
Yep.
the big number, you see 50% off. You're like, oh crap, it's 50% off. But it was 20% off on Tuesdays, but it was also 20% off of $19 versus $60, 50% off.
It's classic. And like you and I have been talking about this for years. This is not a new thing. And it
Mm-mm.
was not new when we first started reselling. It's just I don't think people understand, or they don't have the bandwidth and the patience to understand that, like, you walk in and it's the prices don't make sense that day. You're gonna have to come back another day. They just say, "Oh, I went to my outlet, everything's too expensive," or maybe the outlet in that area, because they have better sales to have as many big sales, which means you got to go to a different area. Again, we live way up here in Maine in the middle of the nowhere. I used to have to take a 2 or 3 day trip around New England to get our inventory, and then we eventually built that team. So there's no excuses, and it's I was gonna say it's easier than you think, but it's more logical than you think.
Yeah, it really it just comes down to just logic. But
Mondays.
Isaiah asked,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
how do you decide the price? You guys give excellent deals. Why not higher to get more profit per hour, and why not lower for faster sell through? So on our end, we do something where I typically can gauge based off of past sales what things sell for. And occasionally I'll increase it and run it for like 10 seconds. And then when I get no bids, I'll bring it down again. Basically, I'm just kind of testing the market to see if I can get more money. But for what we're doing, since we have the availability for volume, is I know what price point I need to be at in order for me to make money, and then for the people buying it to make money, because I have to also think about the end user, because my end user isn't an end user. My end user, typically our customers are buying it to sell it. So I can't sell it too high because then it's not going to sell and they're not going to buy because they can't make money. Now, do I have people that come in and we'll get in a bidding war because they are the end user? They want this. This is a personal item. Yes. But for the most part, I'm selling to other people that are also going to sell it. So I have to be right there in the middle to where I'm making my money, where I know exactly what my number has to be. And anything over that is just a bonus to me. As long as I get what my number is, I'm good. I've already factored in my profit.
Monday said, "I do wonder if outlets would sell wholesale if I simply walk in." You're again, you're overthinking it. Just buy for what they're they're
Yeah,
asking for. There doesn't need to be this like backdoor handshake. One
yeah,
one that manager will get fired. We've seen it before. I used to have friends back in 2018 that would be like, "Yo, the Nike manager is giving me a deal, behind, backdoor, whatever." And then the manager got fired, and those people weren't allowed in the store anymore. So
yep,
they had no business. Always follow the rules, and you can make money just walking in.
yep,
It's about timing it, and it's about understanding that there's tens of millions of people that are not within striking distance of an outlet, so they may pay a little bit more as long as the fair is you don't want to go in and try to sell a North Face hoodie for $200 that you got at the outlet. That doesn't make any sense. But if
mhm,
it's a 60, 70, 80, $90 hoodie, and you can sell to them for 39, for example, That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. And listen, that's not me making it up. That's over 100,000 items sold, 5 out of 5-star reviews across the board. You're providing convenience. You don't there doesn't need to be this little sneaky, and I'm not saying you're trying to be sneaky Mondays. I'm just saying whenever I think of like walking into a place that's public and trying to like alter the rules and do something sketchy, like you hear people back in the day, and they probably still do it, where they'll walk into Walmart to sell stuff on Amazon and they'll slip $100 bill and say, hey, just let me get the stuff from the. You don't have to do that. That doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to try to do that. You
Yeah.
can find value when the sales are good, price because of the speed on whatnot, and move through inventory and make a ton of money very quickly.
100%. And again, if you're looking for if you're the kind of person that's trying to do those kind of deals, then eventually you're going to try to do something on whatever platform you're selling on that's going to get you in trouble too. So
Right.
you're already building your business on a shaky foundation. If you're into the bartering type of sourcing, go to flea markets, go to yard sales. There you can do deals, you can do barters, you can do all of that. But if you're going into a retail store, um, good luck.
Well, it's not even about luck. Even if you it worked, it doesn't work for long because the manager gets fired. Like there's rules, and if you just follow all the rules, no one can take your business away from you. And the way we've scaled our business, respectfully, is finding amazing people that will also go out and source stuff for us. Now, can you imagine if I was like, hey, you got to go in and slip the manager $100 bill and sweet talk them into giving it. Who's
Yeah.
gonna say, Ryan, I don't want to do that. What I don't want to do that for you. Like that sounds
That
sketchy.
also that
Instead,
also cheapens your credibility as a seller, as a business.
right. So instead, we say, hey, this is what we do when we walk into the store. We make sure we verify what the rules are right when we walk in the door. What are the spending limits? What are the sales that are going on? And sometimes there is limits. So you follow the limits, and the store manager is like, oh, this is great. Someone's buying a lot of stuff, but they also respect the rules. Welcome into my store. How else can I help you? As opposed to, oh my God, here comes this guy again. He's going to try to slip me money. I don't want to get fired. How do I deal with this person?
Yeah. You're creating more tension in the system. Just Bigelow asked me how I know most of my customers are resellers. Well, I've since day one like always just said, hey, like we try to cater to resellers. That's why you're getting it so you can make money. I know what the sell through is. I look this stuff up. Um, I just don't. I absolutely have no desire to photograph and list on any other platform to make maximum dollars. I did it for years. It's just not something I'm into. I'm all about eliminating the things I don't like to do, and that is the main thing I don't like to do. And then I always tell people, like, if you buy something from me and you resell it and make a ton of money, tag me because I think that's awesome. I already made my money, so I don't care. Like people get somebody's like, "Oh man, I sold that to them for 10 and they sold it for 100." I'm like, "That's awesome." They're going to
Right.
post it. They're going to tag us. We're going to reshare it. And then more people are going to come to my stream and buy stuff because they know that I'm giving away deals. So most of the people that do shop with us, I encourage them to, at least if they don't want to post it publicly, just send me like a thing like, hey man, I got this from you and I sold it for this. That's how I know. I just ask. I straight up ask.
And guys, the reason Flip the World is successful on Whatnot is because of nuances like that. He has, and we've learned a lot too as we've talked over the years from you, Chris. You lean into the strengths of the marketplace you're on as opposed to trying to make it different than it is. And
Yep.
one of the benefits of Whatnot is the speed, which means you sacrifice a little bit of profit per unit,
Mhm.
but you sell through so much more. So you actually do make more profit at the end of the weekend, at the end of the day, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But you can't be the person that sells one item, profits $100 per week. Just because you
Yep.
bought it for 5 and it'll sell on eBay for 100, and you're like, I'm sticking to it. I'm not taking anything less than 100. Meanwhile, Chris and I are selling 1,200 items and profiting $5-10 per item while you're waiting for that $100 bill to come in. And again, what I want to reiterate is that is the nuance of Whatnot. It's different on Poshmark. It's
Yep.
different on eBay. So we have talked strategy on those marketplaces in the past, but it's different. We're not pretending like this is Poshmark or eBay or hoping or crossing our fingers or wishing. We're saying what works well right here where we're selling. Let's do more of that.
Again, it's always been a video idea I wanted to do, but again, you know how lazy I am with making content. I wanted to take two of the exact same item, sell one on Whatnot, and then follow the profit into how many more items I buy with that profit and sell, and see how long it takes for the other item that's identical to sell on, let's say, eBay for maximum whatever the current sell through rate is. And let's say it takes 30 days to make full $100. Well, I sold it for 20 bucks day one, and then I take my $15 profit and I just keep buying more, and I see how much more than $100 I've earned in 30 days.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it would be thousands upon thousands of dollars that I would have taken that initial $20, that $15 profit I made, and just rolled it into more items and sold it faster than just waiting out this thing that's just sitting in my shelf for that full $100. And
And
that's the way my
path
brain
again.
works.
Keep following that path, right? Like one path is, let's just say eBay, because I haven't used eBay. I mean, I used it for like 2 months 10 years ago or whatever, but let's say there's the eBay path where you get a whole bunch of listings and you are selling a lot per day, but you've got a whole warehouse full of stuff. Or you've got the Whatnot path, which means you can work out of one single room in your house. You don't even need a full room where stuff's coming in and out. The two differences are uh speed, storing, mental real estate, like all that stuff plays into it. We did multiple millions of dollars last year out of our basement in our house. We don't have a big warehouse. We don't need all that. Now you can go that route where you have like Chris just explained, all these listings and you're getting more per unit, but you've got to store, 10,000 units, whatever it is, shoes, clothing, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and then wait. Or you can sell 10,000 units in a month, not having to store anything, because as it comes in, it's immediately being sold. You just have to sacrifice a little bit of profit per unit. There's give and take on both of them, but if
It's
we're
the
talking specifically on Whatnot, you don't want to turn into this giant storage facility.
It's the same thing about, would you rather have $100,000 now or a penny a day doubled for the next 30 days? That's exactly what this is. And then Caleb hit it directly on the head for introverted people, you know,
Yeah.
right on the head. Selling and Whatnot's fun. You get to interact with people that you don't have to see, they're not in front of you. And then you can just get it all out and be like, all right, I'm done for the day. And then just turn off your brain afterwards.
Ayo, the goat. We literally sold out a couple streams ago. Both Flip and I put in orders. My tracking says it's coming tomorrow. It's gonna be here tomorrow. So, and in 2 weeks we're gonna do another one. So we'll have hot sauce ready to go
A
for the
hot
next one.
sauce palooza.
Yeah, we're going crazy.
What are the profit margin differences between here and what? I mean, it depends on what you're selling, but even Whatnot tells you to expect about 30% below other platforms. Now, they don't specifically name platforms; they just say it's about 30% below other platforms. So, if that doesn't work for your business model based off of what your buy cost is, then your answer has been there's your answer. If someone's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, do you think I could do Whatnot?" It's not, "Do you have a personality? Do you have?" It's, "How much do you pay for your stuff? What are you
right.
selling? And are you okay with taking 30% less of what you see on other platforms?" If the answer is no, 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 then buy. No, there's no. You can't be romantic about if it's working or if it's going to work or not. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
you just have to be okay with saying no and moving on.
My earnest endeavors, we do sell the hot sauce. It sells out literally instantly every time we re-up on it. We're working with the professionals down in Texas. It's a mango
Yeah.
habanero. It's so good. It's a 7 out of 10. It's absolute fire, literally, and the taste is amazing. And we do sell it on Whatnot, but during these live Q&As every 2 weeks.
We keep it very limited edition. The only way you can buy it is by being on the secret sauce, which
On
I
the
love
secret
that
sauce.
idea. Also,
Yeah.
the big elephant in the room that we're going to have to discuss today is, I put a poll. Do you have a daily goal for Whatnot? 63% said no. Guys, ladies, people. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. I say dude and bro a lot because I'm from the 80s. All y'all's. That is horrible. I'm just gonna say that's horrible.
Yeah. Well, here's how I'll respond to that. Right now, I'll give you $1 million. Anyone in the chat, I'll give you $1 million if you take your shoe off right now and you hit the target. 1 million. $1 million right now. And if you're taking off your shoe and you're excited and you're pumped, but you have no idea where the target is.
Yep.
That's the same thing as not having a specific daily goal, a specific weekly goal. I just told you can make $1 million. All you got to do is take your shoe and hit the target. Just go. Go ahead. It's the same excitement you're
like
going
a
to have
dang
going into whatnot. It's the same excitement you're going to have to like, but then all of a sudden you're like, I have no direction. I have no way to gauge even which way to look. Is it up? Is it down? Is it outside? Is it inside? You got to have a specific goal. The goal can change. It can change, but you got to have a very, very specific goal in order to even come close to hitting it.
That's what I was about to say to Rachel, because she said I was so discouraged when I wouldn't reach it. So here's two things that need to happen. One, you are not being honest with yourself about what your ability to reach that goal is. So your ambition is higher than your than actuality. So you need to reevaluate. This is so I could say, sorry, I started sketch. So just behind the scenes, real quick, timeout. The post office is backing up into my driveway right now because they kept, every time we go to the post office, they say, hey, we don't have equipment. Hey, we don't have equipment. So I said, hey, what do I do? Every time I come here, you guys don't have equipment. You can't take my packages. I'm going to lose my business because you can't do your job and I can't do mine. And they're like, hey, file a complaint. And I was like, are you sure? I don't want to get you in trouble. I like you guys. You just don't have equipment. They're like, no, it doesn't affect us. I filed a complaint. I got a account rep now. The account rep said, hey, just do scheduled pickup at your house. And I was like, I don't have anywhere to put all these packages. Someone will just drive by and steal them. So I came up with a situation. I put them somewhere. I got it protected. And I've been scheduling pickups and they're here picking them up.
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up.
And the manager is very mad about that.
Oh my God.
Because
That's
now it's documented and they have to come get them, whether they
Man,
have equipment or not.
I'll have to test that out. I had to buy a freaking box truck.
But anyway, back to it. If you're getting discouraged about your daily goals, then that means you don't have you're not doing statistic goals. So that's like let's say you're bringing in $5,000 a month in your reselling business. And your goal and that was in April. So your goal for May, realistic, because you're realistic, is I'm going to do $1 million. You're not going to go from 5,000 to $1 million. So you need to actually look at your numbers and figure out what your goal should be and not what you want it to be, and then make those steps. And then each time you hit it, you can increase it. That's what we're talking about. Where goals aren't cement. You can continue to adjust them. But if you're making them too high, you're going to get discouraged. And it's like someone coming on and be like, oh, I'm going to sell 100 things my first show. No, you're not.
Right. Also, attach your financial goal, to a very visceral thing in your life that's very important to you. I always talk about putting milk in the fridge because we're literally paying all of our bills and putting food in our kids' bellies and our belly by doing this. And I have fun because blah blah blah, but I take it very, 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 the financial side of it very seriously. My kids do not eat if I don't make money. This isn't like some side hobby for me. So if I told you, now this is going to get a little serious and then we'll get out of it. And Isaiah, I got your question on the price anchoring question. When you think about it that way, anybody in here will win, because when you say myself or my kids do not eat unless I figure out how to way to be profitable, you will figure it out. You guys will. Think about, and I get a lot of backlash when I talk like this because people are like, oh, it's just whatnot, bud. It's just whatnot, and don't worry about it. Meanwhile, I'm living in my dream home. My kids eat very well. They're extremely healthy. We don't have to ask how much the milk costs. We just buy the milk. We don't have to ask how much the bread is. We buy the bread because we find ways to win. I don't sit here and say, oh my God, the post office sucks, or people aren't buying anything from me. I say, well, what would you like to buy from me? And they say North Face would be great. And I'm like, I don't know how do I find North Face? Like, maybe I should go to North Face and see if they will, sell some stuff. What's up, Gabby? And then I'm like, how do I be profitable? Let me test out some different pricing models. Oh, this one works. Let's do more of this. This one doesn't work. I'm not gonna do that anymore. AKA dollar starts. We've sold over 100,000 items. The first 20,000 were dollar starts. And then very quickly I realized this is like unpredictable. I like, one day the same item will sell for $1, the next day it'll sell for 100. How am I supposed to build a business on on that. So I changed to higher set prices, which respectfully gets into Isaiah's question. But the last thing I'll wrap up was attach your small, big, medium goal to something very visceral and important in your life. Then there's like no, that you won't complain anymore. You'll just find reasons to win, and you'll focus on what does. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say similar to that. You're talking about my kids don't eat. There's one of those what do they call those? I just call them pitchmen, like guys that can just inspire you by talking. I'm not going to say like a Gary V, but like Gary V is like a Tony Robbins, like
Yeah.
vulgar Tony Robbins, and I'm like a double vulgar Tony Gary V. But basically it was a guy who was like, I'll give you $1 million, would that make you happy? And he's like, yeah, it'll make me happy. Okay, well, I'll give you $10 million, but you don't wake up tomorrow. Would you take the $10 million? People are like, well, no, why? I wouldn't wait. No, I wouldn't wake up. So waking up is more valuable than $10 million. Well, then why don't you wake up every day with that mentality? And I'm not a positive person by any means. You can look around and look at my tattoos and realize that I am not a very positive person, but I do live my life that today's 24 hours is the same 24 hours that Ryan has. It's the same 24 hours that the guy on the curb asking for dollars has. It's the same that fucking Mark Zuckerberg has. We all have the same 24 hours.
I think Zucks has figured out something else though. He's like,
dude, he's a man. He's becoming a man now. He finally realized he had. I don't want to get into this. He's not a cuck anymore.
he's a jiu-jitsu champion, but I think he's figured out some dimension. Rachel, I sell the same stuff that other people do sell for $1. Yep. Same exact stuff.
Yep.
Now, it's a great question. You are not competing against other people on Whatnot.
You versus you always.
Now, listen, I get where that mentality comes from on Poshmark eBay, because your listing is up against someone else's listing. And you may think that it's your live stream versus someone else's live stream. It is not. I promise you. I just checked this morning. We've done 730 live streams. We've done close to 4 million. We're coming up on $4 million. I promise you, it is not you versus the next streamer. People are only in your stream, and then they'll go to the next one. Now, they may get a North Face hoodie for $10 somewhere else, but they're still buying them for $39 over here, because the person that sold them for $10 isn't going to keep doing it. So they may get the one-off, and I can't get this across enough. Comparing yourself to other sellers on Whatnot. Let me share a personal story, 10 seconds. When I first started Whatnot, I thought the same thing. I was on Whatnot. I was watching streams before I started streaming, and I was like, holy crap, this person has 1,000 people in their stream. Like, how am I supposed to win when I start my stream and there's like 10 people? Like, they have 1,000. I don't understand. So here's exactly what I did. My first couple streams, I looked at the biggest streamers on Whatnot, and I scheduled my stream for the same exact time. And my goal was to weed myself off of Whatnot. I was like, I'm going to do this. And most likely, because they have 1,000 people in their stream all the time, every time I've watched them, I'm not going to be able to sell anything, because I know I'm brand new to Whatnot. Like, this isn't going to work. And I want to know right away so I can go back to Poshmark or go back to eBay or Facebook Marketplace and then keep building my business. I ran the stream and I sold a bunch of stuff. Not a bunch, but like I sold stuff while they were streaming. Then I was like, holy crap, I can actually make money even while they're streaming with 1,000 people and I have 10. And so I slowly but surely over the last 3 years have done that without worrying about what other people are doing.
One thing that I'm not part of, or I don't have I used to have a brand, an actual, when I was a Whatnot ambassador, I had a direct email to a rep. I don't have that anymore since they changed the system, but I still just message Whatnot or Whatnot seller support ideas that I have, because they will respond. One of the ideas that I actually have is kind of how I can drop down this poll and then I can make it go away where I can't see it. I think they should have that option for the number of people in your show. Or until they do that, get yourself a little circle piece of tape and just put it right where that number is. Because if all you're focusing on is that number, you're failing yourself, because you're not even worried about the product or the people in the stream. You're worried about who's not there, not who is there. So just cover that up and then run your shows.
First of all, shout out, you guys might not know this, but Flip the World is the reason there's tips.
That's a fact.
on Whatnot. Like, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They added tips because of Flip the World right here.
I send my ideas to Whatnot seller support like once a week.
And all shout out, first of all, shout out to Whatnot too. They do listen to sellers. They can't do everything, but they're like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's flush it out. We've got a team. Let's see if we can do the technology to back that up. I remember you used to do like the $2 taco, you used to do the $2 listing taco. And then eventually Whatnot is like, man, Flip the World had this great suggestion. We just figured out the tech. Let's add tips to the market or to the app, and boom. This is the man right here. I'm pointing down. If he's on the top of the screen, wherever he is, it's right there. So shout out to that. I really do appreciate you. Shoot, what was the question? I forgot because I was like fired about the tips. Competition
we're
mindset.
just talking about comparing to others, competition and things like that.
Wait, I got it. Sorry.
Okay.
Now, listen, one of the best things you can do to grow your following is to respect people's time and attention. It's believe me, it's way easier to do that when there's less people in your chat, which means you're going to build more relationships, which means people are going to spend more money with you because you're respecting that they're there, as opposed to, like Chris said, begging, I wish there was more people and more people. Now, listen, we've had 2,100 people in our chat. It is impossible to provide good customer service when there's that many people in your chat. It was much harder to sell through stuff. It was much harder. There was much more people getting frustrated because I couldn't keep up with them saying, hey, I asked for a men's extra large. You said you didn't even respond to me. I asked what brands. Yeah, you don't even. And there was people arguing in the chat. The reason I'm mentioning this is you can build a very financially successful business with fewer people in your chat, proven by data, as opposed to, oh my God, there's only 10, 20, 30 people in my chat. I wish there was 100, 200, 300, because with 10 or with 100, 200, 300 people in your chat, it's so much easier to mess that up with missing people's, comments and then saying, imagine walking into a store and you walk up to it and they're like, hey, do you have a men's extra large? And they just ignore you. Yep. You'd be like, what the hell's going on in this store? What brands do you sell? And they're like, I don't know, go look around. I don't have time to talk to you. You'd be like, what the hell? I'm out of here.
And that's why they created mods, because they realized very quickly that once they started bringing on the high profile people, I think it was right around the time like Post Malone did his first thing on here and broke Whatnot. They realized like one individual person is not going to be able to handle communicating with 1,500 people in the chat, because the chat is you can slow down the chat, but then you just get more and more behind.
Yeah.
So they realized, okay, well, there needs to be mods to help, and basically what a mod is, like a micro employee that has assigned themselves to help you out in your stream, or maybe you've brought them on to help. But yeah, I've had like 2 shows where there was too much people, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
I could BS with people on here all day, every day. But when there was so many, it just my focus shifted from selling my products to, holy crap, I felt like I had to handshake every single person, and I'm just like, oh, how you doing? And then it became, I'm just more of a reading comments and doing what I'm doing right now versus actually running my business. So again, just like people saying, oh, I want to get access to outlets, or I want pallets, or I want to be in a rag house, be careful what you ask for, because going from having 15 people in your chat to 1,000 will ruin you. Because now,
true story.
If they're all buying and you're a 1-person operation, good luck figuring out how to do all that shipping and get it done in a time that doesn't ding your metrics. Because a lot of people don't realize Whatnot has metrics. You can click on it and you can see the little gauges where you are, and they are cracking down on getting rid of people that aren't following the shipping codes and little things like that.
2 questions. I'll go Rachel and then Get Fit, Look Lit. Rachel, we got more than 10 people in our show as soon as we took care of the first 10 people. It grew once people saw, like, oh man, Ryan actually communicates with everyone that comes into his chat. He answers all their questions. If they have a request, he says if he has it or not, he runs it. And then the 11th person was like, wow, he's taking care of these 10 people. This is great. I'm going to join consistently. And then once I could take care of the 11 people, the 12th came along and was like, oh man, this is great. And then maybe it went up to 50 and there was 20 people that I missed, so they didn't come back. Don't think about the number of viewers. Think how many people can I take care of consistently. Imagine them actually walking into a physical store where you're there and you're the only person. How many people can you talk to and
Yep.
actually take care of? And then Get Fit, they do have metrics on that. Your
Part of
own
the
metrics.
part of the reason why if you go to the Galleria here in Houston, it's the same thing, but I'm just going to say Rodeo Drive because people know that name. Part of the reason why you have to get buzzed in and why they only allow 1 to 2 people at a time into these places like that is because the experience of one-on-one customer, if they just had the doors open and everybody could come in, you're not getting the personal touch, which is worth the multitudes of money you're spending. So they
Right.
want it to be a very in-person, personal, this is your moment, this is your store, how can I help you? Versus
Yeah.
there's 1,000 people and you just got somebody behind the counter like, let me know when you're ready.
Right. Or even worse, not even acknowledging that they're even there. Now, I know it might sound crazy. Like Isaiah, I'm definitely gonna answer your question in my earnest endeavors. Thank you so much for the reminder. Imagine 50 people in front of you and you're not engaging with any of them. Imagine, oh my gosh, this is even crazier.
You're gonna
We
give
were
me
looking at
anxiety.
this is even crazier. Imagine there's 50 people and you're only talking to the one other person that you know, the friend. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, hang on, I'm talking to my friend real quick. I'm not going to listen to what you're saying about anything. I know I want you to spend your money with me, but like, I don't have time to talk to you. I'm talking to my friend over here, blah, 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 blah. They'd be like, that's weird. You want my money, but like, you won't acknowledge that I'm even here. And even worse, you're only talking to that person over there. And all of this is to say, it's okay to have few people in your stream, and the more you take care of those few people, slowly but surely your following and the amount of people come grows. Isaiah was asking about pricing with respect to retail. Isaiah, oh, there you go. Here it is. For the higher starts, are you guys systematic on sourcing side about the gap between the MSRP and the items starting? Yes. There's 2 things that I want to mention with respect to that specific question. A very common trait that some of the biggest sellers, and I'm talking like the outlets, what they do is price anchor. But think of a Burlington location. Burlington, it used to be called Burlington Coat Factory. Now it's called Burlington. They sell Nike, they sell Adidas, they sell New Balance, they sell shoes, they sell whatever. And one of the common things they do is price anchor. Now, they price anchor to some random number that I don't know where it comes from. They'll say ours is 19, compare it to, 59 or whatever it is. I don't know where that 59 comes from. What we like to do is what Isaiah is saying. What is the actual retail price? And can we price anchor from that? If we know what the retail price is, if a Carhartt hoodie is $80, we'll price anchor down to 39. Now, the first part of Isaiah's question was when you're sourcing. Yes. Oh, an important thing to understand is we want to build a business all year, right? All year, not just when there's like the best possible sale. So we make sure that we are sourcing and pricing so that if the sale changes, we still can make a little bit of money. For example, sometimes you can get an amazing piece of apparel for $5, brand new with tag. If I start selling that for 19, but then I can't find it any other time less than $20, I don't have a business. That one time I'll sell that one thing, but if all year long I can source it under $20, maybe I can try to sell it for 39 if it does well. If not, I'll sell for 29. But you got the nuances of that with respect to Isaiah's question are what can I consistently source all year long, and what predictable price can I offer my community on Whatnot where they're excited to pay so that I have a consistent business all year long. If that makes any sense, put a number 1 in the comments below or say, yo, Squirrel, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying.
And on the thrift, bins, used clothes side of that, what I just do is average pricing. I
Right,
do
right.
I just take, like when we were selling on other platforms, if we went out and we bought 100 things and we spent, $500, then I just divided and there's my average price per item. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, that's a Carhartt jacket I paid $10.99 and that's a t-shirt I paid $1.99. I just average priced everything, and I can kind of do that with Whatnot because I pay $1.99 a pound. That's what I pay. So I know how
Yep.
much jeans weigh. I know how much shirts weigh. I know how much shoes weigh. I know how much plush weighs, and I just do my starting prices accordingly.
Yeah, that's actually the easiest way to do it in tracking your numbers, and because you're gonna sell through 100% of everything,
Yep.
like it's very it's an amazing way to track your exact net profit without going into the weeds of every single item. What did I pay for this? I
Yeah,
don't remember.
I learned very on the itemized spreadsheet tracking is it's unbearable.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
it's just unbearable.
Yeah. What one thing that has helped, we do have a couple different prices, is we still do the average like you're saying, but we'll
Yeah.
average like youth apparel.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah. See by category. Yeah.
right, not and then we'll average adult apparel, or maybe we'll average shorts, and so we do the same strategy.
Mhm.
But it also, what I'm explaining is a lot more difficult than what you're explaining. It's like the same type of strategy, but the more friction you cause for yourself, the more opportunity there is for it to be difficult. And
Yeah.
that's one thing we're always trying to simplify. Um,
Like I remember
always.
watching videos of somebody and they would be like, "All right, well, I got to do my spreadsheets real quick." And like, "All right, I paid 10.99 for that item," and then they'd write what the item is, and like, "All right, I paid 2.99 for that item," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, just add it all up, divide by the number of items, and move on."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now, and listen, the reason that works the best on Whatnot is because you're selling through everything.
Yeah.
If back in the Poshmark days or whatever, I mean, we would still use that same strategy, but like there, because it took longer for stuff to sell and you weren't selling as much, you
Yeah.
could get away with that back in the day. But like now, because you're selling through everything so quickly and so much of it, you got to average.
Yes, sir. Guys, you got questions? There we go. I'm aiming for. Oh, okay. So see, it sounds like it's Isaiah. Sounds like more like he's on your business model of like
Yeah.
doing the new attack stuff. Okay.
Isaiah, yes, it depends. Oh, it also depends on your average. I'll share one strategy that we have used that'll answer your question, Isaiah. Um, we've talked about this before. 80-19-1 is what I say. Like, let's say we are averaging everything together. 80% of the inventory is stuff we can get all the time at a price point low enough where we can run stuff at 39, right? And be profitable. And the percentage points on that are up to you as the seller, but you get what I'm saying. So 80% of the inventory that we source that week is that. 19% maybe costing a little bit more, but when you average it in with the 80%, it brings the buy cost down. That 19% is inventory, again, that might cost a little bit more, but we may not be able to find it as much. And then the 1% in the 80-19-1, which also gets averaged in, may cost more than $40. But when you average it in, it comes down to 24, $25. And those are the carrot on the stick that we're trying to get people into the live stream. It may be a big North Face jacket. It may be a duffel bag of some sorts. It may be, but when you average it all in and you sell through everything, you're still profitable on that item, even though you paid more than 40 and it sold for 40. If that makes sense, Isaiah, let me know.
So yeah, so basically what you do is what I kind of, again, the simple brain version of it for me is 80% of your business is built on singles and doubles. 19% of your business is built on triples, and 1% of your business is built on home runs.
Nailed it.
Versus
Absolutely nailed it.
everyone trying to build 100% business on home runs. You don't win championships with home runs, you win championships with singles and doubles. That's my sports analogy. Back to you, Tom.
I love it. Well, listen, not only do I love that, but that makes complete logical sense, because if you're trying, like, for example, you can't source the 1% low enough to be profitable all the time, but it becomes this really nice, like, holy smokes, I got this amazing, in my example, amazing jacket for super low. I'm going to stick around and see what he has for the t-shirts, for the shorts, maybe some, or you've just built a relationship where someone got some really great stuff and they're telling people, hey, I went to Flip the World's stream, got really amazing stuff. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Like,
And then those people come into my shows and they're like, "Hey, remember that baseball glove you sold me for 47?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember it." They're like, "I sold it for 280." I'm like, "Cool, everyone in the chat see that? That's what we do here."
boom.
EP Threads, aka Pam's Procurements. Do you feel offering reduced shipping generates more sales? So me personally, I am not into, if you reduce the shipping, you're incurring that cost. So if you sell something for 10, but then you have to eat the shipping, you're not really making that money. It's too much confusion on the business side for me. And if I get confused, I don't do it. So I personally think Whatnot already gives amazing shipping discounts. 9.21 for 5 pounds is awesome. And then the Ground Advantage discount is like 20 to 30% cheaper than anywhere else because they use Shippo. So me personally, how much, I know you've done a few of those shows, Pam. How much money did you lose out of your earnings to cover the shipping that you lost? So if you lose, it's not a win to me. That's just how
Yeah.
my brain works, and I could be wrong.
No, and while they're answering EP threads, we have never once offered reduced shipping. We do exactly what Flip said, where we let people know the items are bundled. So every 5 pounds is going to ship for that $9 and change. It also, so technically it is reduced shipping, but you aren't incurring the cost on that as a seller. You're inspiring, and this is what I love about Whatnot. Whatnot's inspiring people to buy more from you by bundling that all together, and it's all absolutely taken care of. Unless you're selling stuff that weighs more than 5 pounds, and all clothing, unless you're wearing, some huge, crazy, ridiculous jacket. But so people can get 4 or 5 items from us for that same $9 and change.
I have no idea why sellers wouldn't bundle. I actually wouldn't shop with somebody that doesn't bundle because they're not
Well,
looking
listen,
out for.
I know why they don't.
Okay, because I
It's
don't.
it's easier to ship.
Ah,
Now
there you
listen,
go.
but what's really happening here? It's way easier to ship if all I have to do is if you pay shipping every single time after the stream's done, I'm good. But what you're saying inadvertently to your buyers is, I don't really care about you paying more money. It's
Yeah,
easier for me to ship it to you, so you're gonna have to pay shipping every single time.
yeah.
Now, and I'll explain, Ash Bash. And so, and now listen, the sellers would never say that. They would never be like, no, I care about my buyers or whatever. But the reality is, if you really cared about your buyers, you would just offer bundled shipping, which is ingrained in Whatnot. I'm not trying to poo on any seller, and ship time is a real thing. And if they want to sacrifice buyers spending more money to get them their stuff quicker, okay, that's the trade off. But what you're telling your buyers is, I don't care as much about your dollar bill. I care more about, my time and shipping. So I'm going to do that. Now, for example, I use these cubbies back here because we offered bundled shipping. When as stuff selling, I put it in cubby 1, cubby 2, cubby 3, cubby 4. At the end, John Smith or Jane Doe in the bundled shipping, they may have purchased number 1, number 9, number 18. I have to then go pull all those, put them in a package, as opposed to, as I'm running, every single one is a new package, and you can literally start packaging it before the stream is over. That's the difference between, I think Ash was saying, well, how does it save you time? You would then have to, at the end of the stream, you got to see how much did this, and it prints it off for you. Whatnot prints it off for you, so you can see John Doe bought number 1, 16, whatever. But it saves a ton of money by offering bundled shipping, and people buy more from you consistently.
Yeah, and then again, every time I read Isaiah, I just assume he's talking about your side of the business. But as far as the second part of his question, Whatnot not having sold comps, uh, yes and no. I use our solds as my sold comps because my customers are buying those items. So I go back and look at the items that they're buying, and that helps me on what I need to be sourcing. I use my sold comps to figure out, okay, well, it seems to me that I'm selling a lot of this brand blouse. I need to try and find more of these browns. I'm getting more money for this. So I kind of cater to my own comps and what
Yeah.
people are buying.
EP threads, are they asking though if Whatnot system generates? So EP threads, it depends on how you set up your shipping. If you set up buyer pays shipping on every item, you're gonna put every new item in its own box. If you have bundled shipping, Whatnot's gonna say these add up to 5 pounds, put them all in this box, and then it's gonna give you another shipping label with that person's name on and say these items go in this box.
Yes.
So for example, if it's 5 items, I'm just trying to use general examples. There's nuances, but if you get 5 items shipped and they're all 1 pound each, and they bought 6 items, they're gonna say, here's a label, John Smith, put 5 in this one, and then here's another label for the 6th one. So you have 2 boxes for that six
the
items that person.
the shipping system with Whatnot is going to do, obviously if you have bundled on, it is going to make it it's the cheapest for the buyer,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
obviously Whatnot wants the buyer to pay the least amount of shipping, because then more people will buy on the platform. We want people to buy more stuff because then we can sell more on the platform. So I could have two buyers buy 20 things each. One person gets all 20 in one box and the other person gets 5 boxes. That's just the way that Whatnot shipping separates. It goes by postal code. So if you live in, I'm in Texas, if you live in Oregon or Washington, you're going to get a bunch of individual packages. I've noticed the trend where everything going that high, or North Dakota, you're getting a bunch of packages. But if you live down here in the South, you're going to get it all in one big box.
Yeah, I love the bundled shipping. Sorry, some of you are actually DMing us right now, and I was trying to see if you had any questions, but I'll get to those after. I love the bundled shipping because buyers are excited that they're saving a ton of money, and it just it inspires them to buy more. Are you selling leggings and hoodies? Which weight do you use? We use like 1 to 2 pounds for both on TJB. It's because there's a range. Instead of doing, because you have to have, like, this is getting into like more nuanced stuff, but like if you're gonna do different, actually Harry Tornado was on his video, was talking about this. You have to have different number systems for each weight class. You can probably talk more about this, Chris. But because with respect to our auctions, we run them under one weight and we go a little bit heavier than they normally are, it covers everything that we sell. So
Again,
go ahead.
I was gonna say Whatnot gives you a range. It's not
Right.
concrete. 12 to 15 ounces. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if you go to the post office with a 12-ounce item and with a 15-ounce item, the price is much different.
Right.
So to have that gauge, I mean, it's pretty simple. And what you do, depending on what you sell. Now, if you're just a anything seller, life is going to be complicated until you can get a system down. But if you sell hoodies, 1 to 2 pounds all day, unless you get into the plus sizes. And even then you could still probably get it at 1 to 2 pound. But we just use two different racks. I have a red rack, which is 12 to 15 ounces. I have a blue rack that's 1 to 2 pounds. And then if I'm selling plush, God, I hope I'm not. I just typically do a 8 to 11 or a 12 to 15, because you got to add in the packing material as well.
Yeah.
But what did somebody say? I have seen that there's a lot of sellers on here that are actually, I don't want to say bigger than me, because nobody's bigger than me. I'm the best. You guys learned anything, I am my biggest fan, and I think you should be your biggest fan. The only way it's going to work in life is if you're your biggest fan. I'm my biggest fan.
I love it.
I see people on here that they'll be selling hoodies and they'll have it at 4 to 7 ounces. And like, guys, I'm giving you a great deal on shipping. And then what they're doing is at the end of the stream, they're changing the weight. But Whatnot kind of cracked that down. You only get 5 free oopsies.
Right.
It's not unlimited. You only get 5 free oopsies a week. So I save my oopsies for when I know somebody's bought like 50 things and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Oopsies. Which I don't have a lot of those, but it's good to have 5 oopsies a week.
Isaiah, yeah, absolutely. Previous solds inform our future sourcing, and then test small financially. To use actual examples, there's a lot of people selling Lululemon. Actually, we're gonna start selling Lululemon tomorrow. It's arriving today.
You
We
have
sourced
plus
some.
sizes?
And it, dude, first of all, the fact that you just said that is amazing, because when I hear that, this is where my brain went in this millisecond, Chris. I asked, first of all, this is how, before we spend any money, I say, hey, to my community that shows up, I say, hey, would you guys be interested if we can source authentic, brand new with tag, insert brand, right? In this case, Lululemon. Would you be interested? If there's crickets and no one says anything, no one says, yes, that'd be great, no one says whatever, I'm not even going to start. But if they're like, I mean, look what's happening. Fab Finds is like men's also. Yes, men's also. But we asked the chat. They said, yes, absolutely, we would be interested. I understand other people are doing it, but we're going to try it as well, add it to our itinerary. Then we test very, very small. So we got some pieces that are going to be in tomorrow's stream. If that goes well, the teams that we have around the country are going to source even more. But with respect to what you just said, Chris, when I also asked, would you be interested? People start saying, men's, do you have plus sizes? Do you have this? And I instantly log that in my brain. And
Yep.
I'm like, the vocabulary is, do you have plus sizes? So guess what we're going to source? Plus sizes. Do you have men's? So guess what we're going to source? Men's. I'm not like, okay, I'm going to get a bunch of women's extra smalls and only women's.
Yep.
The data coming in is, do you have plus sizes? Do you have men's? So when I start small, I'm going to use the data that I've got, apply it to the financial output, which is sourcing. And then when that goes well, and people are like, oh, but you don't have the women's extra small, I'm gonna say, well, would you be interested in women's extra small? And I'm like, okay. And we've done this with every single product that we sell. North Face, Nike. I don't assume anything. I start very small. If the community says yes, I start, what sizes do you want? I know Carlos comes into my stream all the time looking for men's 5XL. I know I got a buyer every time I got men's 5XL. It doesn't mean I go source a bunch of 5XL, but when I can get it, I know I've got a buyer. And then you do that over time, and you've got a community that says, holy smokes, Flip and Rinzy respect what I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on because they fill their streams with it. That's the whole entire game, guys. That's the whole game.
And it's no different than McDonald's doing the same thing, but without asking the customer. They just look at the sales. What we have the opportunity and what you have the opportunity to do is, because you have a mouth and this is your chat and you can control it, is you can get direct result answers right here in the stream. And you can look at your numbers and compare to see if they match up. You know why they don't sell sorry, that's a horrible movement. You know why they don't sell the McShaker salads at McDonald's anymore? Because the society said, hey, we come here because we're fat, not because we want to eat salad. So they got rid of it.
I mean, we're using real examples here. We're using actual real examples.
Said, hey, when I come to McDonald's, I don't want to see vegetables, mother trucker. I want 5 patties, 5 pieces of cheese, and 4 pieces of bacon. God dang it.
Yo, I get extra sausage on my sausage McMuffin, okay? No, I don't even want any egg, dude. I just want extra sausage, extra cheese. No lettuce.
No lettuce.
No lettuce for me.
So what I do to not only do, like you do small test passage and you look at your numbers, and you can ask my chat because I'm sure they're here. They always call themselves chopped liver. So I got chunky unicorns and I got chopped liver in my stream. So I look at my numbers. I see who my top 10 buyers are. And then I look at what they're buying and I source more of that stuff, because if they're spending all the money, I want to get them what they're going to buy. And then other people are going to be like, well, you don't ever get anything. I'm chopped liver. No, I want you to start buying the good stuff too, so you can get into my top 10. But I'm going to keep feeding the people that are feeding me.
Real quick, Amanda, I may get into Vuori in the future, but if you want some Vuori today, check out Opal Hanger. Opal Hanger right here. OPAL Hanger. Always has really amazing Vuori. Amazing family that puts in a lot of hard work, and that's where you want to get your Vuori right now.
See, Amanda, she said she's not chopped liver or a chunky unicorn. She's chopped unicorn. Boom.
Chopped unicorn. Like, that's the best of both worlds. There it is. Opal Hanger right there. Amazing, hardworking people. And if you want Vuori in the next 24 hours, hopefully you guys have stream Opal. I didn't even check, but go bookmark and follow Opal Hanger. Real quick, we only got a couple more minutes.
Yep.
We did cover how we approach local. I think you have that one on your.
Yeah, that one's episode. Is that episode 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Where you talk about fair, right?
Yeah.
And it's spelled different. They add an E to it. They French it up.
Yeah. I know. Fair is a way. You don't want to buy on fair, but if you go to episode 3 on the Flip the World YouTube channel, at the very end, we talk about exactly how to find local wholesale consumable options in your hometown.
100%.
And then,
yeah, Isaiah, my gut is only driven by food, not by anything else.
here, I want to say kind of a bold statement, and this is, I think the biggest businesses on Whatnot are going to be built in local consumable products. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that, if you don't know, like local businesses that are established, I'm not talking like, bake sale, but I'm talking like have an amazing product, but it's a small local business. that is sold on Whatnot, that is edible, and you eat it and you consume it and you come back for more. Anything from literally, I don't think a gallon of milk is the right product, but we sell popcorn. We sell thousands of bags of popcorn. We sell maple syrup. We sell. I'm literally getting DMs about these, Chris. I don't know if you've seen. We've got Rome sticks now. They are slow smoked pork Rome sticks, but it's a local company here in Maine, and we've tested it for about a week, and we've sold close to like 400 of these Rome sticks already.
Sir, you know I'm a vegan, God damn it.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
No,
So that
no.
would not
What
work
I
for
was
you. I totally spaced. My bad, my man. I'm not trying
what
to wave the meat in front of your face.
you're all just
Um,
wiping them up. No, I'm just what I what what I was gonna say with the respect to the popcorn and you going out and finding local is exactly that. I had the same little moment that you just described about the future on here and what you could see popping. When we were driving to we had to go to a different post office the other day because ours wouldn't take it. And across the street is a baseball field, and baseball season's over. So the parking lot every Friday through Sunday turns into a parking lot farmers market.
yep.
And I saw people selling, canned salsa, hot sauce, honey, all, and I'm just like, man, I could just go talk to all these people and be like, hey, this is what I do. If I wanted to buy in bulk, how much could I get to bring it to my platform? Since you're a small business that sells in pop-ups and you're not in a store, I would love to work with you. That's all you got to do, guys. Find a farmer's market in your area and find products that are sealed that can actually be sold, that you actually want to be part of. So, of course, me, I went directly for hot sauces and salsas. But there was a guy there selling lip balm that he makes out of beeswax or something, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. My mustache covers mine, so I don't need any. But I could totally see that being a great addition to people to having to buy it now for running flash sales, just on top of whatever they're selling.
It's a game. Thrifting. I'm gonna answer your question in a second. We're leaning into it as well. We're looking for more products um and again, I think when you can give someone a great product that they consume and come back for more, your regular buyers buy more, as opposed to there's only so many hoodies and joggers that people can buy from you. Even though we do have people that do it a lot, and we love that and respect that. But the consumable side of things is absolutely insane. Thrifting with an altitude, the classic question: what do you do about summer slowdown? In my opinion, there's no such thing as a summer slowdown. There's slight, small little pivots that you have to do, and there might be different ways that you sell. We sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shorts and t-shirts right now. We don't sell as much in the winter. We sell hundreds and hundreds of jackets in the winter. um we don't sell as much, even though we do sell both those things all the way through all year long. So there is small pivots. There's also like different ways to sell. There's no such thing as a summer slowdown. There's only, and I'm not calling you out thrifting, but there's people trying to do the same thing over and over again when it's not working.
Yep.
There's always, every second of the day, all year long, people buying all year long. There's no such thing as everyone doesn't have money.
Yep. Oh, also Pop's watching. That's my old man. So you guys, if you've been in my stream for the last 2 years, my mom gardens her own vegetables and peppers and makes hot sauce, sends it to me, and I sell it on Whatnot.
Yo, wait, I didn't even know that. I need to buy 100. What are we talking about?
Yeah. So this year I think she got some ghost peppers and some crazy peppers from because they're in South Carolina, so they're close to Pucker Butt, so they can go buy the seeds directly from Pucker Butt, who makes like the world's hottest pepper sauce. But
Well,
Ash
I'm in.
Bash,
I'm
Ash
in.
Bash,
I'm
what do
in.
you need to get started? I've used the same selfie stick, a shoelace that I tie my selfie stick to my cart, my battery charger, and that. I've used the same thing since day one. And if I'm not at, I sell directly at Goodwill bins, which most people can't. If you're not, then I use a selfie stand. That's it. This is all I've
Yep.
ever used, ever,
Yep.
ever.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I
I don't
have a
have a
piece.
mic. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm very low tech. Everything.
Yeah. I've got a piece of wood that's I've got a piece of wood. Wait, where is it? I've got a piece of wood that goes down, and then there's just a little dangle, little
Yep.
like wrapped around the piece of wood that holds my phone. I don't have a mic. I don't have anything. It's funny, a little dangle. Oh, someone said about one thing that we do talk about when you go to the Flip the World YouTube channel and you go watch episode 3 of the secret sauce. At the end, we talk about finding local people. You do want to find people that are local, and you can. We live in the middle of nowhere, and we found, but you want to make sure they're established, because someone
Yes.
asked about like, you want to make sure they have all the food and drug administration, all that stuff taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it. Our maple syrup company that we work with, the goat milk soap, the popcorn, they're all established, so they follow all the rules, and they've got all that stuff taken care of. You just want to be the one selling the great product.
For sure. Yeah, but guys, you don't have to go out and buy all this fancy stuff. I mean, this is a $9 selfie stick from Walmart. The most money that I put into it was the flash box, which I still got on Amazon for like 65 bucks, and this is the same one from 3 years ago.
Yep.
It's just because it's portable, because that's the only thing. Whatnot is a battery suck. 100%. You're gonna have to have your battery on a charger. You're gonna have to have your phone on a charger, or your platform, or your tablet, whatever you're selling on, laptop, whatever. It's gonna have to be plugged up, because it does drain the battery.
Mondays,
Episode
episode
3.
3.
It should be episode 3. I'll put it in Instagram stories, just a recap one too as well.
And it's
And if
towards
you,
the end, yeah. Guys, that's what we got for you today. I gotta go drop off shipping. We streamed this morning. We get everything shipped out as quickly as possible. While we've been, we'll talk about this next time. While we've been talking to you, the team has been getting everything shipped. We'll talk about that on next episode. And we bounce between the Flip the World account and the Renzi account. So the next one will be on our account in 2 weeks. I just gotta, I'll shoot you a text after this to make sure you know what date works best for you.
for sure, and that's gonna be the hot sauce palooza.
Yes, because the hot sauce arrives tomorrow, but in 2 weeks, you guys are gonna be able to buy the official secret sauce with Flip and Renzi hot sauce. It's a mango
Batch 2.
habanero. Yes, batch 2. We sold out of the first batch so quickly. You guys were absolute legends. This is batch number 2. Yeah, Amanda, it's hot sauce. It's spicy for sure.
It's tolerable though, because we want to sell it. It's tolerable.
It's tolerable. Pat D's, we didn't sell anything today because we were completely sold out. We just did the Q&A. From
We
next
sold our
podcast,
time, Pat. We sold our time. Thank you very much.
yes, exactly. Ultra authentic. Next podcast is important to build store inventory if you go live constantly. We'll talk about that next time. Let me put
Yeah,
some.
I'll write that down.
Yes, if you go live constantly or just do generic placement. Here, for me, every time it comes in, I sell it within 24, 48 hours. So like, I don't like to build up the inventory. I like to just sell through everything as soon as it comes in. And then there's more nuances and strategy to that, but we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Sweet. Let me see if there's somebody we can send you to. Somebody needs your money. Let's see who it's gonna be. You didn't waste any here. Oh man, I only have. Oh, there we go. E&A's awesome. They usually sell Grateful Dead stuff. Over
Guys, have an amazing
100,000.
day.